had an apprentice with me back in like probably 2005, 2006 in my passenger seat. And we get to this house and I want to say it was like Green Valley, Henderson, Nevada, a little suburb of Las Vegas. Really nice house. And the people who answered the door were like two 23-year-old women who were like very attractive, kind of in pajamas. And they opened the door. The call was for a leak under the sink. And they just said, hey, kitchen's right over there. We're going to go get dressed. And I'm like, hold up, who's the homeowner? Because I kind of expected them to say they were renting, but there was nothing in the notes about it. So, and then one of them just said, me, and then we'll be right back. And they just bolted. I just had a off feeling. Now this is probably 2006, so this is well before, there were nanny cams all over houses and security cameras and Ring doorbells and everything. But there were still like Dateline-esque stings going back to, the late 90s. So, but I just had a weird feeling about it automatically. And we get under the kitchen sink and I'd run a little water. I look down, it's running out of the trap into a pot or a bucket or something. And I get down underneath and the jam nut for the trap that holds the trap on arm is just completely disconnected and even up a little bit. And I tighten it down, fill the bowls, run the water, and not a drip. And the girl finally comes back in and I'm like, was somebody down here messing around? And she says, no. I said, well, somebody was messing around because this thing was completely unscrewed. But either way, you're good to go. This thing's all tightened up. Look, while I'm down here, you paid $79 or whatever to get us out anyway. The shutoffs are pretty old. They're these old, I don't think they make them anymore, but the real thin, paper thin copper that's painted chrome that's attached to the shutoff. And these things were just insurance nightmares. These things just broke off when somebody touched them and they were always under pressure. So they sprayed water. And then you go to turn that plastic stem shutoff valve and the handle breaks off in your hand. Like, yeehaw, So I start a conversation and I say, me as a professional, anytime somebody spends we'll call it a dispatch fee with me, I want to give them the most value for their money. So I'm happy to go through the whole home, check your pressure, do a water test, yada. She's like, no thanks. She's just really kind of assertively moving us out. And I said, well, I'll just collect the fee and we're good. There's no charge for me to screw down the jam nut. And remember this part, no warranty whatsoever. We don't own this thing. So we get out of there. I want to say a couple months later, the manager, general manager Lance, does our morning meeting that morning. He puts a video on. We watch this video and it is a channel 12 or whatever sting operation for plumbers. And we watch companies we know the name of as some guys hit on the girls openly with wedding rings on. Some guys got up underneath there, told them they need a whole new garbage disposal. This thing's shot, it's got to be replaced. And some guys told them it was even worse, like reef pipe and they need a whole new sink. Like just crazy stuff, knowing that it was just a jam nut. So at the end, I immediately look at it and I go, I know that freaking house. Like, I'm like elbowing the apprentice, like, dude, bro, we were there. I didn't say anything yet. And then at the end, for the credits, they mentioned companies that did it right. No names, but they mentioned companies, and our company was one of them. And the owner, Ken Goodrich, was there. He just walks in and says, we want to give a round of applause for somebody who did it right. And they said my name, and then like everybody clapped. And he walks up with an envelope full of $10, $100 bills. Bam, there you go. He was great at this, by the way. He did this kind of stuff to just keep us motivated and in line like that all the time. But I say all that to say, that was in the early 2000s. Like, nanny cams were like the size of a freaking shake bottle, right? And we still didn't see them. Today, like, there's not even nanny cams. There's just, people just have cameras hanging in their kitchen. Like, you are 100% always on camera, always. And the client can always hear you. And not just hear you, but it is recorded and saved forever. So I don't care where you're at. I have a Ring doorbell at home. Like, if my wife and girls are going to check the mail in one of those community mailboxes across the street, they can be all the way at the mailbox. The thing goes off when they walk out the front door. I can hear them talking across the street at the mailbox. It's like, they're too good. It's like creepy good. So you have a new job added to your plate if you're doing the home services in the mid 2020s here in 24. And that is to understand and always remember that anywhere you are on the client's street, you are on camera and being recorded forever. Swearing has no place in the neighborhood. Smoking has no place in the neighborhood. Complaining about your client, your last client, your next client, your manager. None of it has any place in what we do anymore. Unfortunately, it's all getting back to someone at all times. So you have to be a professional all the time, not just when somebody's looking. Talk about this kind of stuff every week. If you're not listening, it's time to start. Waste No Day podcast.